Hello, good evening, and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday. Ian Fortune is away on annual leave, so we'll give him his 2 weeks off. So I'm at the helm of the ship for the next couple of weeks, joined by two able guests in the regular, Tommy Lyons and, of course, Barry Drake. Tommy, you're very welcome to the show. How's things? All good?
Good, Barry. Yeah, good. We had two semi-finals on Laurels the weekend that I can't even figure out still. So there's plenty to talk about, I'm afraid.
There certainly is. Barry Drake, you were down in Cork. How's things with you, Barry? All good, yeah?
Yeah, very good. Brilliant weekend, of course, in Cork. Great buzz around the place. Two brilliant semi-finals. As Tommy said, plenty to talk about. Maybe a couple of shock results for some people, although Ballymac did come in for plenty of market support on the track on Saturday night. 7-1 looked a bit too big, so we got a couple of quid out of that, so all happy, thank God.
Good stuff. So we will start, of course, with the friends and supporters of Cork Greyhound Racing Irish Laurels. Barry, we'll start with you. You were down there on the evening. Looked to be a great crowd, great atmosphere. Good racing. Great to see the crowds back for the Laurels.
Yeah, look, fantastic. Crowd in attendance, biggest night so far. A lot of work has went into it. The ground staff and all the people connected to the track have done wonderful work. Lovely new signage up. Place is looking beautiful. The likes of Bridget Murphy involved with the friends and supporters of Cork Greyhound Racing had a fancy dress costume. I think over 50 kids in attendance, and they all got lovely surprises and medals as well. So it really added to the occasion, and that's what it's all about. So big hats off to all involved with that.
Good stuff. So starting with the first semi-final, as predicted, Serene Ace was going to set the early pace. He did indeed. He led by 4 or 5 lengths, maybe at one stage down the back straight, followed by Droopy Edison. But Tommy, Ballymac she does some running from halfway. She emerged a good winner in the end.
Yeah, she does. Like we're not surprised at her ability or the fact that she can do 28.15 or anything like that. But like her lack of early pace. I mean, if you picked a dog out during the year, you said yeah, phenomenal pace, but wouldn't really be suited to Curraheen Park or the Laurels, you'd say, well, there's Ballymac. It's bound to find trouble. Now we did talk about earlier, and Ian, if he was here, we'd have the trumpet out because he was talking about Ballymac being a finalist. Yeah, but he the point he was making, and it's right, is that when the competition got better and there was more early pace in front of her and getting away from her, it'd give her a chance to kind of wind up her own pace. This time she was able to turn third, which was a bit of a surprise. And she actually broke very well. Again, it's the beauty of Trap 1 in Curraheen Park. It's just there's a huge advantage to it. She was able to break well, better than I've seen her break, and she was able to use the inside line as well. Now, credit to her. Like I can't figure out how Droopy Edison didn't win that heat. I just can't. Like down the back, I'm thinking this is all over. This is exactly what we thought would happen. Serene Ace to get away in front would be a sitting duck if Droopy Edison, which it looked like he would turn second, he'd be able to clear the top 2 into the bend. It all looked to be going perfectly to plan, and then Ballymac made him look slow. Now, that's unfair. Droopy Edison, we know how fast he is, how fast a dog he is. He's a track record holder, but I just can't figure out how he didn't build from his 2 previous runs into last Saturday night. And it leaves me with question marks then about next Saturday night. Even though I think he hasn't got that bad a draw in 4 in the final, it just leaves me with question marks. I don't know. And you know what? The funny thing is that now conditions are supposed to be terrible all week with rain and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know what way. I know the lads, they probably have some of the best track staff in the entire country up in Curraheen Park, and hence the reason they get so many people coming down trialing and everything else. So I'm sure to be in as good conditions they could possibly have it on Saturday night, but I don't know what conditions it'll be in. It's hard to gauge right now, but it's not impossible either that Serene Ace goes and wins, because Serene Ace looks the obvious leader yet again. So this heat has let's just say the best thing about this heat was that 3 truly top class greyhounds got through to the final, and that's what's going to make a superb final.
Yeah, the top 3 in the betting went through. Barry, I'm agreeing with Tommy. I thought down the back straight, Droopy Edison looked all over a winner into the third bend. Maybe it was slightly disappointing, but look, it's a hard out competition. I suppose you can give him one sort of average run, but he's still there. But I thought he was a winner heading down the back straight.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm sure many of the punters that took the short odds about Droopy Edison in that race the other night, they would have been sideways after the race, because in fairness, like, they looked like there was no betting heading down the back straight. We all, see what Droopy Edison had done in previous week. He was clocking, phenomenal finishing sectional. So the writing was on the wall going down the back straight. But as you said, look, we can all forgive, one bad performance, but it was an incredible display of, power and class from Ballymacwhisper into the second last corner there, into the final corner, and, took off up the home straight. A very deserving winner. But look, I was delighted with the three that went through for the competition. It's just going to be an unbelievable final next week, and I think it'll be freely 3-1 the field as well come later on the week. So there's going to be plenty of value on offer.
I think we can make a case for all 6 finalists. We'll touch on that in a minute. I suppose maybe we're being a bit harsh on Drupes Edison. If Ballymacwhisper wasn't in the race, he comes from behind Serene Ace, he beats him by a head, and it's 5 lengths back to the third dog. So look, maybe we are nitpicking a bit. Serene Ace done his usual thing. Tommy out and gone. As you say, he looks like the leader in the final. Some great early pace.
Yeah, and look, the weather has been very bad, and the track can be like, it's only 10 fast at the moment, and whatever they're giving on the track can be. He's still a very important runner in the final and a potential winner. Obviously, the sprinting pace is evident every single week. He has phenomenal early dash. It will be interesting. We'll talk about it when we go to the final. It'll be interesting to just what might happen. But you can't rule out any of the 3 of them straight away. Like, you're thinking Ballymacwhisper. I want to give her credit too, because I don't want him to feel like I'm trying to run her down and say because I was disappointed with Drupes Edison. Like, she's got phenomenal ability, Ballymacwhisper, and I think that was evident. I mean, you think down to the third bench she's going to go inside. I think she goes around Drupes Edison, doesn't she? Because even that alone is going to take a little bit off the clock for her as well, having to do that. So look, I want to give credit to her because it's phenomenal ability, but it just had me a little bit confused. I thought, like the rest of us, seemed we were all on the same page. We thought Drupes Edison was in A1 position to go and win that heat, and it just didn't happen for him.
I'll make you even more confused when I tell you that Ballymacwhisper won an open sprint around Tralee in September, clocking 17:46. So there you go. Just to throw that into the equation, that we have her sort of pigeonholed as a come from behind flying machine, but she's well capable. Crypto Punk, go on.
Sorry, but like her sections so far in the Laurels have been 364, 339, which is fine, 348, modest in Laurels company, 342 the other night, which is pretty good by her standard, but it's not Laurels. It's going to leave you in a bit of trouble. You think most of the time it's pure ability got her out of it. She's behind Drupes Iconic, behind Gary Rojo, behind Galloping Sydney in the 3 previous rounds, and this was a lovely step up now. In fairness to her, yeah.
It's worth pointing out as well, like I was speaking to Stephen Reedy after the race the other night, and if you look through her form, there was a gap. She had her season, they left her off there for a couple of weeks, so she was only after 2 sprint races before she came into the Laurels, and Stephen pointed out the other night that she's just coming right now, so there could be a bit more to come, which is kind of frightening, really.
Yeah, it really is. She's a bitch, certainly going the right way. As I say, Crypto Punk, he missed a break. He was always on the back foot. I suppose Cash and Misk and Kilcommon had done well to get as far as they did. On to the second semi-final here, lads. Great results for the Holland Kennels. It looked a tricky draw with Galloping Sydney drawn on the outside of Sword Rex. Sword Rex completely missed the break, Barry, but he done wonders to qualify, didn't he?
Yeah, unbelievable. After a couple of strides, you were saying that's it. The anti-post favourite is out of the competition. It was nervous moments for all connected with the dog, but he showed phenomenal pace. I thought he ran a remarkable race to come through and finish second. It opened up nicely for him, but at the same time, he had all the gears to go through and run, as I said, a remarkable race, finish second. Galloping Sydney just made the corner in front. Nice performance from him. Looked to have it all to do from trap number 5, so we'll take nothing away from him. He's a greyhound with plenty of good form in the book in Curraheen Park, and that's like about that. Good Cody, just didn't go right for him early on. Probably not operating at his very, very best over the course of the last couple of weeks. But look, he's there, he's in the hat. He's got a good draw in the final, and it'll be hard enough to write him off. But yeah, look, we'll take that away from Galloping Sydney, a worthy winner. Yeah,
very worthy winner. Tommy, just staying with Sword Rex for a second. Believe it or not, he is the fastest sectional in the competition. I didn't realise that till I was looking back through it yesterday, even quicker than Serene Ace. He's a 3:17 done. Yeah. Last Saturday night, he done a 3:59. Which is 6 lengths slower than what he's capable of doing, and he still clocked 28:48 coming through dogs. If he was to do a 3:16 or 17 next week, he'd take an awful lot of beating, wouldn't he?
Well, that's what I was going to say when we're talking about the final, because he went from 3:17 to 3:30 to 3:59. 3:30 is still good without being, you want to be dipped into 3:20 to kind of lead a final. That's what you kind of want to do, right? But anything sub 3:30 is very fast, considered very fast. 3:17 is, I think somebody had emailed Ian earlier in the competition saying that there's another dog had done 3:17. So it's a joint record, I think, of all time in Curraheen Park, 3:17. And that night we were all worried about trap 5. You know, he could be in trouble here. He might miss it. He came out through the bars. So the fact that he has potentially what looks a terrible draw on Saturday night mightn't work out that way. if he maybe he just break that well from the outside. He ran a phenomenal race to qualify, but like this is a fair performance from Galloping Sydney, because he didn't fly out. He had what looked a terrible draw, and yet he managed to cut across 3 really good early paces at the first bend, where it looked like he might get himself in trouble. He was able to eke out that extra little bit of, you know, maybe half a length just before the bend, which was crucial, because it was a little bit of a rub. I mean, you could say the clock, you could take another little bit off the clock for the performance from Galloping Sydney. He's like, I don't see him as the winner of the competition still, but I have to say, I thought he ran a cracking race. Swords Rex, I mean, I'm not really sure how it came, but that he got such a good run. In fact, down to the third bend, I thought he was in real trouble, because I thought when he was trying to go inside Good Cody, it can get tight if you don't meet it right. And I thought he was going to be half a length behind Good Cody and be forced to check, but he actually drove into it, which is phenomenal for having missed a kick and to be shown the pace he was to be able to get in there. Good Cody, actually, all his experience showed, because he was there were 4 of them going to the bend together. He was half a length behind the 3 in front of him, maybe, and in the worst possible position, because they're going to cut across and he's going to get squeezed back and end up back in last place, you'd think. And experience showed, and class, that he was able to hold his position somewhat. I kind of felt for one time only, because Tommy O'Donnell has done a great job with his dog. We talked about how he maybe wasn't at his very, very best, but there were little flashes of things that were, you know, right about what he had done last year when winning the competition. There were little flashes of it that, you know, maybe it's not that far away. And he was actually, the dog came out and was in a great position at the first bend in one way, but just unfortunate there was so much early pace on it and on the inside, and having a dog like Good Cody in behind trying to force a way through as well. So like something had to give. He actually ran a cracking race in defeat one time only. It's just it wasn't to be in the night.
Yeah, trying to make back-to-back wins. Barry, in fairness to Galloping Sydney, we give him his dues. When you look at the draw, he had to clear the likes of Swords Rex one time only and Good Cody into the bend. So it was a terrific performance. He's now won 11 times. So all credit to him, really.
Yeah, without a doubt. As I said, look, he was a brilliant winner. And, you know, he was very good the previous week as well. The only thing, I wasn't in the betting ring for the race. I was a bit surprised now, to tell you the truth, when I looked at the SP and I see 4-1. I thought he'd be much bigger from that draw. Not sure whether he came in for a bit of support or anything like that. But yeah, look, brilliant performance from him. Just in terms of Good Cody, I've been a big fan of this Greyhound, I suppose, over the course of the last couple of years. But I think you'd be, a bit disappointed with him. Everything went wrong for Swords Rex, and to come from that far back to pass him, I thought was a bit disappointing. But look, he's in the hat for the final. No doubt, Patrick Guilfoyle will have him back to his best. Can never rule him out in the final either.
Yeah, he's been around the block a while now, Good Cody, and he had that bad spill in one of the rounds of the Derby, so it's good to see him running at near the top of his game. On to the final itself, lads. The trap draw, 1 Ballymac Whisper, 2 Good Cody, 3 Serene Ace, 4 Rookies Edison, 5 Galloping Sydney, and 6 Swords Rex. I don't think many connections can be too disappointed with the draw. Okay, I know when you're thinking Swords Rex is in 6, the likelihood is Galloping Sydney is going to break fast and move to the rails. So if he does happen to come out Swords Rex, he should have a bit of room. Speaking to Robert Gleeson at Shelbourne Park on Saturday night, he was happy enough with Rookies Edison's trap draw. Serene Ace could be away and gone and give him some room to operate. And I suppose Ballymac Whisper, look, she's well drawn on the fence. She's not going to be thereabouts early, so that should give Good Cody a decent run. Tommy, what do you make of the draw?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like Ballymac Whisper obviously has a great draw in some ways, right? Obviously, trap 1 is like a golden highway, right? But like, she's not massive early pacer now. We saw her with her best performance so far in the Laurels in the semi-final from trap 1. Good Cody kind of seemed to step off slightly from 2 the other night, and will probably do the same again on Saturday night. But Good Cody's going to come back in again and run a tight enough rail, I think. I think Ballymac Whisper's draw actually might work against her on Saturday night, because Good Cody is such a professional. There's not going to be too many gaps left there for Ballymac Whisper to get a run. Serene Ace, we imagine, will be gone. I mean, 320, 328, 328 is quite consistent. We kind of know what Serene Ace is going to do. Now, couldn't afford to even miss half a length at the start, because Good Cody's, you set your clock by him. And Rookies Edison's draw is fine as long as he can hold his position against Galloping Sydney early. If he can do that, he can win the competition. But he has to do that. He can't afford to he can't afford to miss it at all. He was showing maybe what slightly disappointed me about the other night was in the quarterfinals, he was showing phenomenal pace into the bend. Lochil Roy, I think it was, led up from the inside, and he showed massive pace up to the bend to catch a really fast starter. And he got a bit of a bump and still won the heat in 28-11. It was a phenomenal performance, I thought. That's what had me thinking that he was an absolute certainty the other night. It didn't work out, but I'd kind of be half inclined to forgive him. He's a big enough dog to, I just hope that the runs haven't taken it out of him. They were so good. I mean, you do 28-7, 83, you do 28-11. Like, they're two absolute monster runs from such a big dog. Galloping Sydney has to, he probably has to be the outsider of the entire field. I don't know what the prices are, but he has to be the outsider of the entire field, because I don't really see a way, and this is probably unfair from a dog that's in great form and winning heat after heat after heat, but I don't see a way that he's going to be able to clear all four on his inside.
But it looked very similar in the semi-final last week when you see what he had to clear. And he
this
one time only, and good Cody, he done it last week. So what's to say you can't do it again?
This is different. This is different. You got Serene Ace in there. You got good Cody who can go up, who can break better than the other. He's not necessarily a breaker, as we talked about, but he has the early pace. You've also got Truby's Edson, who, even if he doesn't break with you, he'll be trying to force his way through. I mean, I just, you look at, if you own him, you're in the final of a Laurels and a Classic, and you have a chance of winning. But I just think he has probably the worst of the draw, would you believe? I think he's probably the worst drawn dog in the final. And Swords Rex, I mean, if he does 317 from 5, what might he do from 6? I don't know. He's a dog, like Barry was saying, he was a bit disappointed with, that for good Cody that Swords Rex could come by, but Swords Rex is a dog with 27.79 on his card. Like, that's insane stuff. Like, that's
not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you could tell me after where they were after 3 yards, I might be able to pick the winner of the Laurels. But right now, I don't know.
If only, Tommy. If only. Barry might tell us. Tommy has just said Galloping Sydney has no chance there. You heard him a second ago. He's very consistent. He's the most consistent trapper in the race. I think his best sectional is 323 and his worst is 329. So doing something like that, he's sure to race prominently.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, it's hard to see anything leading Serene Ace. I just think he's a real professional. He's got massive early speed. So I think he's the certain early leader. It's just a question of, what's going to turn second. Will Droopy's Edison get a run? If he does, I think he'd probably win. But at the same time, if Galloping Sydney turned second, or if there was a bit of messing in behind, Serene Ace could be gone up front. And, it's a real puzzle. I thought Swords Rex, when he drew trap number 5 in one of the earlier rounds, I think it was freely available 3-1 on that night, and I gave him no chance to be from the draw. And, he proved me wrong. I'll be saying, unfortunately, because I am a big fan of the Greyhound, I don't think he's any chance from trap number 6. Trap number 6 in Curraheen Park is just, oh my God, it's so hard to win out of, especially when, the Greyhound wants the inside. So I think it's going to come down to the likes of, Serene Ace, Ballymac, Whisper, and Droopy's Edison. I still haven't, put down what I'm going to put forward, because it's so hard. I'm going to have to spend another couple of hours at that later on. But, it's just, I think that's what makes it all more special and all the more interesting for Saturday night. There'll be so many different opinions floating around. It'll be a great betting race. As I said, come later on in the week, I see no reason why it won't be 3-1 the field. And, I think that's what you want for a big race final.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to back anything in the race at 2-1 or in around 5-2 when you consider so much has to go right. Tommy Lyons, am I right in saying Graham Holland is the only trainer in this race who's won a Laurels? I don't think the others.
Never ask me about history. I can't remember the weekend. Never mind years ago.
I don't think the Dowlings have won it. Barry Drake, you might. I don't think the Dowlings have won it. I don't think Pat Guilfoyle has won it. Mick O'Donovan or Robert Lees. I think Graham Holland is the only trainer in the race who has won it.
Yeah, hope you're right, Barry.
Look at the Google hand is going. Look in the right hand side.
Yeah, I have a head like a sieve. Honest to God, I might be the worst of all time for this sort of stuff. I mean, horrific.
Look, they've certainly won other big competitions, those aforementioned trainers. Right, Tommy, it's selection time. You're €10. What's it going on? What wins the Laurels?
Look at the way I see it is, right, and I'm trying to you have to kind of imagine the race somehow, and I imagine the Serene Ace is going to lead. He's that bit sharper than Good Cody at this stage of Good Cody's career. Ballymac Whisper can't lead them. Probably better for her if she didn't break that well and give herself a chance to run him down. I think Serene Ace will lead. I think Droopy's Edison will turn second and pick it up, but it'll be tight. And I said Galloping Sydney has no chance. Barry said Swords Rex has no chance. So I'm going to go for a
5 and 6
4-3, a 4-3-1.
4-3-1 for Tommy Lyons. Barry, where's your €10 going?
I'll take a chance with Ballymac Whisper on the inside. I believe she's going to be about 5 or 6 to 1 in a place, so I think she'll be the value alternative in an open race. So I'll go 1-3-4 for me in the fight.
Well, me being a swordsman, I have to stick with Swords Rex for Barbara and Leonard Lowndes. I think the draw could possibly work in his favour with Galloping Sydney edging inwards, and I think if he was to come away in half decent fashion, he could make a bold bid for another big race success. That's the Laurels wrapped up. It is live next weekend on Racing Post Greyhound TV. Racing Post Greyhound TV will have 2 Irish meetings on next Saturday night. Shelbourne Park, of course, the semi-finals of the final of the Puppy Oaks, and of course the card from Curraheen Park. Barry, we'll stick to you here. There was some other good action on the card on Saturday night. Jerry and Michael Hennity Memorial unraced day. Toolmaker Stand for Robert Gleeson was a good winner of the first heat.
Yeah, sure was. Look, he got the eye in the opening round and he came forward again. Really impressive performance. Son of Pastana, clocking 28.71. He'll be very much the one to beat in the final. Johnny Linehan, of course, has got 2 runners with Droopy's Rampant and Droopy's Unicorn. Droopy's Unicorn is ground with massive early pace, but tricky enough draw out in trap number 5. So yeah, I think Toolmaker Stand will take all the beating in that race. And look, it's another fabulous competition. €2,000 to the winner.
It is, yeah. And you mentioned Droopy's Unicorn there. She was very professional, very fast away in taking the other semi-final. Also, next weekend, we'll have the final of the Curraheen Park Bookmakers 550. Adrala Adam, I thought he was impressive in winning the first semi-final, Barry, in 30-15.
Yeah, he was very impressive. Had a few quid on that actually myself and a good friend of mine, Jim Coleman. Tommy was missing the party, and on Saturday night I know he was celebrating his young lad was involved in a county winning performance in the football. So well done to the all boys there. But yeah, I thought that Greyhound would be ideally suited to the long run to the corner. It was just getting caught out over 5-2-5. Big player in the final, but I'll go with Ballymurphy Demo in trap number 3. I think that'll get kind of first run on the opposition, and it's a strong running type as well. Rex Mundy was a Greyhound that was backed off the boards last week for Tom O'Neill live there, but I think Ballymurphy Demo might get the job done there in that final for Darren Murphy.
Yeah, it's a great final when you look as regards competitiveness. 30-25, 2 semi-finals, and the other was one in 30-27. Then finally, the Bart Leahy Memorial A2 stake. Bartlemy Jazz was a good winner in the first, 28.47. Barry, he looks like he's possibly take beaten in the final of that.
Yeah, he'll start as a short price. Look, he's been long odds on the last 2 runs, clocking some phenomenal performances, 28.39, 28.45, 28.47. Such consistency there for the Kieran Lynch trained runner, owned by Liam Mannix there. €5,000 to the competition. Well done to the Leahy family and friends for putting on this event. It's been a real spectacle over the course of the last couple of weeks, and a fabulous addition to the Laurels. Of course, Bart was a very popular character, known all over the country, and looking forward to that final as well. But from the draw, Bartlemy Jazz, it would have been hard to beat wherever he was, but with trap number 1 now, just makes him a lot shorter, and I think he'll get the job done there for the local trainer.
Well said. Safe to say you're going to Cork next Saturday night, Barry, yeah?
Yeah, I tell you, I'll be there, all right, obviously, but I wouldn't mind being at home watching Racing Post Greyhound TV as well, with the 2 fabulous meetings. It's going to be a real treat for the people that can't make it to the tracks, but just in terms of, supporters of Greyhound Racing, I'm just, it's very important, I think, that people come out and support this big event. A lot of work has went in over the last couple of years. It's well documented, of course, that everyone that contributed to the sponsorship. So just come out on Saturday night and let's get another special occasion at Curraheen Park, which no doubt it will.
Yeah, I genuinely would love to be there. Unfortunately, I'll be in Shelbourne Park, but I would love to make it. That wraps up the Cork card. Cracking card again there next Saturday night. Tommy Lyons, we're going to head to Mullingar now. And we've seen this on so many occasions this year. A dog, fantastic, getting to the final, unbeaten, goes off, trees on, and then what happens? It happened again with Gizmo Cash in the Matchbook Fair Warrior on yesterday afternoon, where he just didn't get his usual flyer and he was in trouble on the run-up.
He was literally like a pinball. On the way, 3 was coming out, 5 was coming in. There were bump, and even the winner wasn't even positioned in ideally positioned. It just got held his line well, I suppose, around the opening to 2 bends. But when you see a 3's on chance, you kind of expect to away and gone, and that's the end of that. But he just, like as soon as he came out of the traps, he got clung almost. Like it was just and to go from one to the other, have the two dogs on top of you like the whole way. It just, as the commentator said, it just literally nothing went right. Nothing went right from start to finish. And if you back them with trees on, you're probably feeling a bit sore. Airport flying ones, was it 2021?
21-34.
60, it was a 45. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I don't know much about the dog. David Murray has actually had some very good sprinters. He had a good sprinter who used to come down to Youghal, and who, again, me going back any length of time is a waste of time. Barry might remember the dog. He used to come to Youghal for David Murray, a really good dog.
He brought his magic a couple of years ago, almost won a Laurels, didn't he?
Oh, very good. He's responsible for
Brody's magic. What a smashing dog. He was one of my favourites, and I can't even remember him, Barry. There's no point in asking me questions about.
I know Oliver and Finbar Cribben have had greyhounds for a long time, so it's good to see them with another top class dog in airport flying. And a frightening stat: he's going to arrive in an A3 competition soon enough, because he's still graded A3 over the 525 trip. He seems to stay the 400 strong enough, Tommy. So I presume he'd get 525.
Yeah, he does. Like he needed every bit of it to get up the other night, or yesterday. Sorry, the other night. Yesterday, like he'd probably make a mockery, as you say, of a 525 some night. But I just like watching the race again, even as I'm doing now. Like, just gives him a cash, got everything wrong. Even the winner was kind of almost moved off the bend a little bit and got into a little bit of trouble. You think even halfway down the back, he's not going to get there. It's quite exciting. It's a tricky little kind of finishing line to kind of gauge what's happening or what's in front or whatever. But it made for a good final. I hope we have as good and as exciting a final next Saturday night, because I know in Curraheen we have the quality there. And it doesn't necessarily always lead to a good final, but I really think it will. I really think it will next Saturday night.
Well, I'm not going to get bogged down on this point, but just a word from each of you on this. The A3 rule for sprinters, what do you make of it, Barry Drake? You know, you can have a dog breaking a track record over a sprint, and he goes A3. What do you think of this rule? I think it's a little bit open to manipulation.
Without a doubt, obviously, when you're going to have that Greyhound or rock up in an A3 event, but it'll probably rock up in one in Shelbourne Park. It'll be capable of probably doing 28:30, but there'll be something else in it as well that can do 28:30. Isn't that the norm at Shelbourne Park at them A3 stakes? Yeah, look,
Tommy, what do you make? Sorry, Barry, continue.
No, it's a tricky one. It's probably, not ideal when you have an A3 event and you have your normal A3, and then you have these ones coming in, as you said, making a mockery of it. I think there was an A3 stake last year in conjunction with the Laurels. Tommy there's no point in asking Tommy what won it, but I know Jerry Hullian as well, that's just coming down, zone 28-20. I think he won the stake by half the track. So it's probably not.
Tommy, what do you make of this A3 rule, Tommy, for the sprinters?
I don't have a particular problem with it, to be honest about it. There's a big difference between sprinting and 525. We've seen it so many times. If you're good enough to be doing fast times in sprints, you're not oftentimes you have too much pace and you're not necessarily a stayer. Now, things change a little bit. We watch and talk about it all the time, saying you don't need to be an out and out stayer to win a derby. Early pace is the most important thing because of the run up and getting your clear run and whatever else. So, but that's over small little gaps between them. When you talk about going from 325 or 330, 350, 360, whatever, up to 525, it's a big difference. I don't have a major problem with it. I don't see enough instances throughout the year to kind of get me worried about it, to be saying, this is a bit of a farce or whatever else. They can, and the beauty is, when they go up, when they try to take advantage of the A3, it doesn't necessarily work out. It also makes them probably a short price, and the bookies think, you know what, we have a chance of getting these beaten or whatever else, or else punters might say there's a bit of value taking this fella on. So, so I don't have a problem. I think it's perfectly fine. There's a huge difference between a sprint and a 525.
Yeah, look, well done to the Cribbins and to David Murray there on that win. I remember actually a bitch 4:45 with Paul Hennessy. She was a top class sprinter, and she just couldn't take advantage of the step up to 525. Slip the Lark actually won an A3 before he went on to finish runner up in the Derby in Shelbourne Park as well. So he was well in, as they say. Now, lads, on to Shelbourne Park on Saturday night. Again, another terrific card there at Shelbourne. The featured event was the semi-final of the Racing Post Greyhound TV Puppy Oaks. Fantastic prize here for this race, €5,000 for the winner for 2 runs. But it's safe to say we have some very promising pitch puppies at the moment, if that competition has anything to go by. Tommy, the first heat, Ballymac run, 28-11. What a run that was.
This kind of goes back to what we've talked about quite a lot. Like, have a look at the clocks for the heats and like, the standard. And I've gone on a bit about too much about it maybe in the last while, but like we're going to be breaking 28 seconds for fun very shortly. It's not we're hardly even going to mention it. It's going to be that common. That's the way it's going. But like, to have young bitches of this standard, like 3 cannons in the next heat, like if Ballymac run, in fairness, not surprised with the run, showed lovely pace, went to slightly step off maybe at the first bend and didn't correct itself, maybe lack of experience with that, but the pace down the back to open up a gap of what 6 or 7 lengths on a good field behind was serious, and 28.11 wasn't a surprise on the clock. We have. I see. This is where I'm a little bit confused about it. Like last year, 2 years ago, and a year ago, we were talking about how strong the bitches were and all that. There's just strength all over the place. I don't even know where to fit in anymore. There's that much strength in the, isn't it? It's true. I think that's fair to say. Like the strength and depth at the moment is phenomenal. It really is all over the country.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong saying it. Barry, I'm not too sure if you were keeping up with the action at Shelbourne Park, but 3 cannons, she was third in the juvenile derby. She ran out an impressive winner of the second semi-final in 28.15 when making all. Never really in doubt once she led.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Look, we've all seen the performance she's posted in recent times, you know, with big finishes and stuff like that. So once she sailed around the opening bends in front, it was just a matter of, you know, how far I thought the one bitch as well, undisputed from this magical litter from Unlock ran a cracker in second. Yeah, but it was all about the winner. And as Tommy said, look, these times now are becoming the norm. The likes of, you know, Ballymac Run and 3 Cannons, they had unbelievable experience as well. When you just look down through Ballymac Run's form, just going back to her, she's, you know, behind Coolavani, half closely behind Scooby Dutchess, Bacchus, Crystal, you know, all
it's
these.
Not form you'd associate with a puppy, really, is it?
Exactly, that's what, you know, and they come into this competition. Then Ballymac Run had the plum draw on trap number 1, so it was no surprise to see her do that. And, you know, 3 Cannons, a fabulous winner as well, and a lot more to come from trap number 1 as well, undisputed.
Sorry, Barry, I'll just make a point there. Sorry, just about something that Ian had talked about. You know, how young our finalists in the Derby were. Is there something in it? Are we starting that bit earlier? Have we got so much talent among the young dogs that we have to get them going a bit earlier, and they have to go into deeper company that bit earlier, and they're picking up that experience. I mean, you know, as you talked about, there were a few of them a good few of them in the later stages of the Derby that could have been in the puppy Derby. There were, you know,
Personally, I think the Greyhounds are starting an awful lot earlier. Going back years ago, you know, Greyhounds wouldn't be touched maybe until they're 14, 15 months old. But you can see with Liam Dowling, and he's had huge success over the years. Most of his dogs are qualified at 13 months old. So I'm sure they're being well ready when they're 11, 12 months old. So look, and it's not doing them any harm, and you can see them running so well, so young now. So I think they are starting a little bit younger. Look, doesn't seem to be doing them any harm. The last semi-final, Tommy, up to style. She's made a 4 from 4. Another terrific win there, 28-23.
You know, I didn't see it live because I was out celebrating, as Barry said. But I was just looking up the because again it's the unlock later. But this is a proper inexperienced pup. Like that was only the 4th run of her life, and a 209 following on from 3 good runs in Newbridge, consistent at the break. It's, I don't know. You mean you tell us what you saw about it maybe in the heat, but it looks like another pretty special greyhound, to be honest about it. Ballymac in second has I was there in Shelbourne the night it ran in the first round of the puppy derby.
Juvenile derby,
yeah, first round of puppy derby. Loads of ability, Ballymac, loads of ability. And I think if a dog like Ballymac turns second and you were able to hold it comfortably, it must be a serious run.
Yeah, it's
from up
definitely
the
a bitch with a big future. She's 28-17 in Newbridge. I think she won that by 19. And then, Barry, before we leave the puppy Oaks, this unlock Pastana litter, it's something else. To get 3 into the final when there was only the first 2 qualifying, it's a huge achievement.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, I suppose the Matthews family have produced, you know, a lot of, you know, high-class greyhounds over the year. And no doubt there, you know, on a high, I see a wonderful picture on Twitter of the 3 bitches. So, yeah, it's fantastic. And it's exciting times ahead. Just a quick word on Up the Style, of course, it was owned by leading jockey Pat Dobbs and Alan Dobbs. They've invested heavily, you know, on top-class greyhounds over the course of the last couple of years. They're buying the best bred pups and stuff like that. So, you know, it's great to see them getting success following on from the Oak success of Ballymac Beanie, and they look to have another leading candidate for Oak success going forward. Yeah, so it's great to see.
Yeah, promises to be a fantastic final. Once again, all the action is on. So used to saying the Bark and Buzz app. All the action is on the Racing Post Greyhound TV next Saturday night. A dual Irish card, Shelbourne and Cork. So it does promise to be a cracking night next Saturday night. Just on the Shelbourne Park undercard, a couple of big performances there. Just no such thing as a handy race in Shelbourne Park on a Saturday night. You really can't afford to miss it by a heartbeat. I was speaking to Carl Ramsbottom. He didn't have much luck on Saturday night, but as I said to him after racing, none of his dogs actually ran poorly. He had a dog in the novice 750, Kumachu, a very fast dog, and Sunshine Dream won that for Brendan Mawson, 41.69. So you've Kumachu clocking 41.79 first time over the trip, and you're not winning, you know that way. And later on in the card, Paul Hennessy had a good double with I'll Not Be Back. She beat Kilgraney Sydney. Tommy, I don't know if you've seen that race with Karen Toogle back and toward a good quality race at 28.07. That was some run by I'll Not Be Back.
And has that ability. I was a little bit disappointed with her in the Laurels last weekend. I thought she was positioned to kind of qualify. I actually thought she might win that heat, but like she showed what she was capable of in the first round. When she beat Drupes Edison doing 28.02. And she's doing 28.02 Curraheen Park, she's doing 28.07 in Shelbourne Park. She's got loads of ability. I just find it hard when I'm looking at her in a race. I find it hard to gauge exactly where she'll be at the first bend. And that, if you know what I mean, when you're trying to read a race and trying to read it, because I know she has the ability to win at this level for fun. But that's serious quality. Here's come Sid had been impressive in previous weeks. Karen Toogle won on Derby final night. Kilgraney Sydney has. I think he trialed sub 28 seconds in Curraheen, did he? He has it sub 28 seconds in Shelbourne.
Just only a couple of weeks ago, yeah. So
was it? Yeah. So like, and he has sub 28 seconds in Shelbourne, hasn't he? So I mean, it's a serious performance. And I was talking to Paul after the heat of the Laurels last Saturday week, and he was disappointed. He thought that maybe she might be the one that might get through for him, but just wasn't to be. But it just goes to show you the level of competition at the moment. If you can do those sort of runs for fun, 28.02, 28.07s, and then you're struggling to qualify into the latter stages of big competitions, that'll tell you where we're going.
Yeah, as I say, it's the race in the Shelbourne on Saturdays is incredible. Barry, John Boyle, good to see John, a big supporter of the game. He's a nice type in Boyle Sports Vic. He won an open 5-2-5 semi-final. Lochranza for Francie Murray, he's no slouch. He led down the back straight, but he picked him up for fun in Boyle Sports Vic. An impressive winner on 28-27.
Yeah, look, as you said, some fantastic performances. Boyle Sports Vic looks a very exciting ground. Of course, he was purchased recently by John Boyle. He got his racing career off to a sensational start when he posted 28-23 around Waterford. So I think he's a ground with a big future. Plenty more to come from him, no doubt. And he's a sort of Ballyhimican jet. I think he's only a couple of bitches covered, but he's after producing a couple of really, really exciting grounds already. So interesting to see how he'll get on going forward in his stud duties.
Just staying with Ballyhimican Jet, he didn't finish racing. He only finished racing recently, Barry, didn't he?
That's all, yeah. Off the top of my head, I would imagine about a year and a half ago. 1 second here. Yeah, September
2020.
Yeah, it was the last race.
You knew that, Tommy, did you? Or did you Google that? Yeah, you knew that date.
Oh, no, I knew that one. You're just not asking me the right questions, Barry.
Yeah, good luck to Ballyhimican Jet in his full career. That's Shelbourne. So there will be a fabulous card from Shelbourne, no doubt, on Saturday night again, live on Racing Post TV. Just to touch around the country, Thurles on Saturday night, the first round of the Dinny Mackey Memorial Cup. Kyle Nomaid was the fastest first round heat winner there in 29.17. Staying with stud dog Dorota's Woohoo, lads, 3 winners there on Thurles. He's starting to make a bit of a name for himself in stud. Tommy?
Yeah, look at we're always iffy enough about talking about stud dogs on here because you kind of think you're pointing to people in a certain direction, but like Droopy Sydney had been so phenomenal, we kind of made a deal of it. So there's kind of a bit of a gap maybe in the market now for somebody to kind of make their name now. And Gerald's who is going well now.
Yeah, 3 good winners at Thurles. Law Hill Roy won in Limerick. He was knocked out, and the Laurels for Paul and Mary Jennings and Michael O'Donovan, 28-47. In Tralee on Saturday night, a dog called Rafa's Friend was a very good winner for Noreen O'Connor and Lorraine Keane. Won in 28-44. And Monabrick, 28-56, a good winner down there. And of course, Shelbourne on Friday evening, YI Man for Robert Gleeson. Took a race there, 28-26. And John Kennedy has a nice bitch called Charming Pet. She also won in 28-59. And Cooler Fanny Raven was a good winner there for Gary Walsh. Just while I'm touching on Shelbourne, it was good to see Thursday night. Tommy, you can relate to this. The card at Thursday night in Shelbourne Park, it was mostly a graded card, A2 to maybe A5s and A6. But it was good to see most of the races won in their grade, if you know what I mean. Like, it's very, very hard to win races in Shelbourne Park. And for the whole night, I think the races were, the fastest time of the night was 28.99, and most of the other races was 29.30, 29.40. So it's good for the local fellas to have a chance to win a race at Shelbourne Park, because it's been very tough lately.
It's absolutely vital. Like Saturday night should be on a pedestal, and it should be elite, and it should, that's perfectly fine. But like, we've got a lot of people who need to be able to come to Shelbourne Park and have a chance. And so you need racing like that. And you say to win within the grade is vitally important, because you can't, like, when I hear people saying, I'm thinking bringing this fella to Shelbourne, I'm thinking, do you really know what you're doing? Like, because when they say that, they normally mean Saturday night with this idea that they've got this absolute superstar. But there are a lot of people, it's like, don't really want to go on to the topic at the moment, but like,
go on, Tommy, go on.
Yeah, but well, look at there's a lot of rumors about y'all at the moment and its existence, and I think the game is small enough now at this stage in terms of tracks and people involved and just the way things have been over the last few years, that if we shrink it anymore, we're in danger of the game becoming so small that it no longer exists, or effectively doesn't exist, because you need people all around the country to be able to promote it to friends and to whoever else, get people involved in it. If you start to shrink it any bit, you're in trouble. You need to have those tracks. The Alls, the Thurleses, the Clonmels, the Galways, the Liffords are going to be coming on again, apparently. You need these sort of tracks and these points around the countries, your Tralees and the Limericks and all that. You need those for people to access locally. And Shelbourne has to be similar, as you say, on a Thursday night, for people who are local, who can't be saying, well, I'm getting out of this game because I can't win a race there in Shelbourne Park. That's the last thing you want. There are people who are supporting.
That's what people have been saying recently, because the amount of people living in Dublin, it's huge, and it's vital that people don't say that and people have a chance to win a race.
Well, exactly. Like, we lost Harold's Cross, right? We lost Harold's Cross, so that was a huge loss. And you've never, no matter what was said at the time or has been said since, you're never able to replace that for people. Do you know what I mean? You can't replace what was. I used to do the reports for the Greyhound Weekly from Harold's Cross, and you can't replace what people were winning there on a Monday and Tuesday night. Those sort of races in Shelbourne Park. That's, people kind of go, Shelbourne Park must be top class all the time. Yes, it must be elite on a Saturday night, but it doesn't have to be on Thursday night. There has to be an opening for people who are in the game for all these years and who are living in the Dublin area or the greater Dublin area and able to access a track locally and actually have a chance. Because otherwise, you just say, what am I wasting my time walking this Greyhound up and down the canal every day of the week, or doing whatever they're doing? You know what I mean? I mean, that it has to be. We need. I honestly, God, and I know. Partly it's in my head because of you all, but I've said it about other tracks when they seem to be under threat. They're vital. They're vital to the existence of the game. We cannot shrink it anymore. It's already at a vital point, if you ask me.
Well said, Tommy. Well said. Barry, yesterday at Enniscorthy, we had a good card. The first race on the card featured one of the stars of the track, Ballinabola Ed. He won in 28.79. No value in the bet, 1 to 5, but he got the job done.
Yeah, bookmakers didn't make any mistakes down there, and look, a very good performance. Look, he's a top class greyhound, and just in terms of Enniscorthy, another track that have been doing great work, I suppose, over the last couple of years. Plenty of benefit nights as well, and getting good crowds in there. So fair play to them all involved. And of course, there was really good racing as well in Clonmel last night, because the opening round of the Stud Owners Munster Juvenile Cup got underway. Ballyhimmock and Leo, a son of Ballyhimmock and Jet and Slaney side Poppy, was quickest on the clock when posting 28.32 for trainer Graham Holland, and he's owned, of course, by Billy and John Dunn, who did own their father Ballyhimmock and Jet. So it looks like they have another top class sort in their hands. So some great racing all over the country this weekend, Barry. Great to see.
Yeah, another good winner there for Ballyhimmock and Jet. The Michael Donoghue Memorial Ledger Final was on also down there in Enniscorthy last night. Picture Parade made much of the running, but which was picked up late by Marlfield Trent. He won it in 28.63 for Caroline Fielding. Lads, before we wrap up, just a line on each of the following things. Tommy, we've mentioned it already. Racing Post Greyhound TV to show 2 Irish meetings this weekend. That's a huge boost in the arm for Irish racing. Yeah,
always bemusing me a little bit how we haven't done it ourselves, haven't gone down that line ourselves before and had a dedicated program every week to some degree on, freely available. I think it's vitally important. It's a great opportunity, and in fairness to them, they have been giving us plenty of coverage. There seems that obviously there's a limit to what they can show, right? But we need to up that limit a little bit more, and work with them for that, because The quality at the moment is phenomenal. It seems like an awful lot of the best greyhounds are staying in the country right now. And why shouldn't we showcase it? Like if you're at a low ebb in some ways, but you've got an abundance of talent, show it to people. Show it, get it out there. Make it freely accessible. Yes, we want, like Barry's right, and Ian calls it every week, saying, get to the track is vital to support the local tracks and never do. But you know what? Not everybody can do it, and what a great thing to do to have a couple of hours here on a Saturday night to watch really top class racing. So yeah, I think Racing Post TV do great stuff for us.
Yeah, well, there we go. Look, it's going to be a good Saturday night. If you can't make the tracks, it is live on Racing Post Greyhound TV. Barry, just touching on the UK scene, we've seen two big performances there midweek. Last weekend, a dog called from pillar to post, winning a puppy event at Oxford. Looks a really, really smart sort, and it was good to see Curraheen Shadow back to his very best. I think he broke the track record at Perry Bar. So it's good to see. They really do look like sort of Irish Derby dogs in a way, Curraheen Shadow. But it's good to see Curraheen Shadow. He was bought for a lot of money back to winning ways.
That's right, Noel here. Sold for a large figure, I believe. Great to see. And they'll come back and buy more from Irish Style, which is always great. I think I was actually on Racing Post Greyhound TV yesterday. I'm sure someone texted in to say they posted the exact same time of winning around 3, 28 or something like that. So yeah, look, they're the two big talking dogs in the UK for the English Greyhound Derby. Next year, a long way to go. And we'll have a lot of stars going over, so don't be counting their chickens just yet.
Certainly is. Well, that's it from us here this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, a big weekend ahead. The final of the Laurels in Cork will be the featured event of the weekend, and of course the Puppy Oaks from Shelbourne Park. And thanks to Tommy Lyons and to Barry Drake. We're all off down to Cork tomorrow for the Talking Dogs TV Roadshow. Looking forward to that, gentlemen.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
I both say.
Be nervous about the host.
Don't need to worry. Listen, lads, thanks for joining us. Thanks for you at home for listening, and we'll see you again here next Monday.